Number two, if you recall, I did mention in that $24 million way that we tried to close the budget, when we talked about negative fund balances, I did indicate, and I think you were there, that I did not think this was really good policy. Because earlier on I had said we need to develop a 5-year plan on how we're going to deal with negative fund balances. And so the 24 million was a difficult proposition, but what I said was, A, if you have alternatives and options, then come forward with them, and we decided that we would continue to look at this issue as well. And so how they've come to refine that is to raise additional revenue, like ticket sales, at the arena, some parking issues, et cetera. We've been working with the fire department on trying to come up with some savings. Now, in my personal view, I think that putting that forward a couple of days ago was premature, because while we have negotiated, and our city administrator, Dan Lynn, I've been meeting with them almost daily, that has not been ratified. So, my hope would be that it would be ratified, because the fire department, these folks have come to the table with great integrity and great openness and great willingness to be cooperative. So I have no reason to believe that it would not be done, but we worked very hard at trying to get to those level of savings. So however that gets worked out, I don't have a problem with it, as I said, going forward, to leave that hole there, to plug that hole up by not dealing with our negative fund balances was not something that I was totally comfortable with anyway, so we've continued to look at that. So overall, I don't see any problems here. I think if we can work out this staffing arrangement, because we're really not that far off, and I don't see any need for any hassle in that regard. I did hear through the grapevine, as it were, that some of you thought that this meeting that I was having was some kind of, angry meeting. Not at all. And I can say that to you with great honesty. I had no desire to engage in that level of we had bigger fish to fry here. And so I'm not interested in that. I called for the meeting simply so that we could talk about these matters and see where we are, prior to them adopting the budget. I'm assuming that if they go forward today, perhaps they will handle that at this regular meeting on today. So it was a meeting just to communicate, to say this is where we are, this is what we're prepared to do, this is our fine tune, and can we achieve some kind of rapprochement between among us that allows us to go forward. Because as I said, in the larger arena, what we don't need to project beyond Oakland is that any kind of way we're in conflict with each other. Because the way I've been trying to sell Oakland and Washington, D.C. is that we are a city that has come together and that we're prepared to present a coherent, cohesive, unified, strategic approach to problem solving, and that we want to use these stimulus dollars in the highest form that's open and transparent and efficient use of the taxpayers' money.
So, Mr. Mayor, so it sounds like this council plan, this alternate plan, sounds like you like it for the most part. Pretty much all of the details that are different, you like it, the $24 million and so forth and so on.
It's not that, it's really not that much difference when you look at it. So we're pretty much on the same page. As I said, the only major difference is how we plug up the 24, and I don't have any problem with the revenue raising. And again, with respect to the libraries, that's not an issue with me. So yeah,
It sounds like firefighters though are leaning towards giving money back, which leaves just the police, who are in the middle of a contract, who haven't given anything back. And it's the police that you're really forced to cut because you're out of money. Do you have any message to the police union about giving some money back, even in the middle of this contract? Is that something you hope for?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And obviously my answer would be, my hope would be that they would come to the table, yes, with a maximum desire to be cooperative in this extraordinarily difficult time. Everyone is putting some skin in the game. No one is getting away. At this particular point, we're all facing tremendous problems in this economic downturn. And every department, including the police department, needs to come to the table with that perspective. Oakland is hurting. How do we help to the maximum extent that we can? And we've been talking about when to, as you know, the arbitrator gave the the police department a 4% raise. And, you know, it's a question of when that 4% gets implemented. You know, at what point does it get implemented? At what point do you provide greater contributions to retirement, et cetera? All these things are at play. All these things are on the table. But the thrust of your question is, should they come to the table as everyone else? Absolutely.
Have they already? Have they already?
They have come to the table with, you know, some thoughts about delaying of the 4%, resolving the lawsuit, how that would get resolved, whether cash would be involved or no cash would be involved. I mean, these things, they're all at play. And so this is an ongoing conversation. My hope is that it will conclude rather quickly, because obviously we need to reconcile the budget, but we have been in dialogue on these matters.
I want to ask just a technical question on...
And then maybe Dan might have to answer it,
Okay.
but...
The 20% you're willing to take in your office, just to compare apples to apples, what is the percent cut that is currently in the council's proposal? Because I know what the dollar figure is, but what's...
And just to tie into that, it's a related question. Are you saying a 20% cut in jobs, or
Yeah.
20% cut in your budget?
In staffing.
Staff budget?
Staffing.
Yeah, in staffing
In
budget.
dollars or in the people?
Well, my preference would be to give me a dollar figure, because that would leave me as the chief executive officer with the capacity to make administrative decisions based upon our administrative needs. That would be the best of all worlds, and that would be something that I would appreciate. That would be something I would give you. That would be something that I would give them. My hope would be that they would give us this. At this particular point, it is my responsibility. At this particular moment, I am the mayor. Now, somebody else may be the mayor down the line, but at this point, that's my responsibility. And what I'm saying to you is that given where we are with respect to the federal government and our collaborative relationship with the state government, I need to have an effective staff, particularly in intergovernmental and public-private partnerships, because this is where we're going to live or die. And this is where Oakland is going to either benefit or not benefit. And the challenge that I have offered the federal government to deal with us as a city prepared to think much more substantively, it is also a challenge to us to have the appropriate staffing capacity to get that job done.
So what are they proposing? As his question was, are they proposing 33% and you're proposing 20%?
Well, first of all, it's unclear what they're proposing. All we have is a little spreadsheet. Secondly, from what they told us, is they weren't planning to cut any staff. And they were trying to use either pay-go money or something like that to cover whatever the amount of money, I think it was $1.2 million, that they were willing to cut for the whole council. But I have no idea exactly what percentage that is, how they're going to get from here to there.
But he's talking about our cuts.
No, I thought you were talking about the council cuts.
No, our
No,
cuts.
I'm saying that the
City
council plan, his question was, the council plan wanted to cut X from the mayor's office. The mayor is suggesting they cut 20% from the mayor's office.
Right.
What was the council plan that talked about 15 staffers?
Well, even that was unclear. They had a very high dollar amount that they had a calculation that seemed to be just erroneous based on how they got from here to there. You have to understand that these proposals are they're very inchoate proposals. They're little line items on a spreadsheet. It's not like there's a paragraph that explains this is what we intend to do. So we'll have to wait and see when they bring that forward exactly. But what was on the line item on the spreadsheet, just to be precise, was 5 positions, and I believe it was $815,000.
Which would account for what percent of the mayor's budget?
Well, it would account, well, I can't run the percentages in my head, but it was, the mayor's budget is, in the general fund, in terms of staff, is roughly $2.1 million. I think it's 2.7 if you include other funds.